Welcome back to another episode of Titans of Foodservice. I'm your host, Nick Portillo, and today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Nicolas Fanucci, a renowned figure who has played a pivotal role in the world of fine dining and is known for his extraordinary experiences and accomplishments. Nicolas Fanucci's story is one of culinary brilliance. He honed his craft working alongside the legendary chef Thomas Keller, serving as the general manager of the iconic French Laundry. This iconic restaurant not only earned a prestigious 3 Michelin stars during his tenure, but also became a revered destination for food enthusiasts worldwide. In my conversation with Nicolas, we'll explore the invaluable lessons he learned while working with Thomas Keller and the secrets behind the French Laundry's meteoric rise to culinary stardom. But there's more to this culinary virtuoso's tale. Nicolas has taken the art of fine dining to the next level by recently opening his own restaurant in the picturesque paradise of Malibu alongside his 3 sons. We'll uncover the challenges and triumphs of this new venture, blending traditional excellence with a touch of familial warmth. Prepare your senses for a gourmet journey as we explore the fascinating career of Nicolas Fanucci, a man who has not only witnessed the pinnacle of culinary achievement, but continues to contribute to the ever-evolving world of fine dining. Let's go ahead and welcome Nicolas. Nicolas, welcome to the Titans of Foodservice podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on, share your story, and meet with me.
Thank you for having me, and very excited to share my story and for the first time to be on someone else's podcast.
Of course. What I usually like to do with all of my guests is a little background on how did you get into the food service industry?
So when I was younger, when I had obviously I'm French, and I was in finishing my school year in May of 1988, and my father was a very strict dad, gave me 48 hours to find a job or else. So I ended up to go to the first restaurant in the first village in southern France and apply for a job as a busboy. And I was fortunate enough to get the job. And so I could get my father off my back. But more important is this restaurant was owned by a chef called Roger Verge, who passed away now. But Roger Verge was one of the most famous French chefs at the time in the 80s. He had a cuisine called La Cuisine du Soleil, and the cooking of sun, and became a 3-star Michelin restaurant. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of that and to be trained and to learn from them.
Wow, that's incredible. That is incredible.
It was incredible.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and just your background and how you got into the industry. I mean, just I love that. So where did you go from there?
So I worked for Roger Verge for almost 2 years, and in his two restaurants, one 2-star and one 3-star.
Okay.
And after a very, very long summer, which in France at the time you had to work straight without a day off. After the entire summer, spending 90 days without a day off, I looked at my paycheck and I told my mom, I'm like, this is ridiculous, all those taxes I'm paying. And in France, the taxes were very high already, and they're still very high. But I didn't feel like paying taxes was for me. So I told my mom, I don't want to pay all those taxes. And she said, well, then you got to find yourself another country. So the next day, I joined the Navy, because in France at that time, you had to do your military services. I joined the Navy and engaged myself to go to do this task for 1 year and 7 days. I went to do that. I came back to France after 1 year and 7 days, done with my military duties. I paid my taxes, and I decided to move on and go and start to go work in my journey out of France for not paying tax. That was the big story. I pay tax in California now. But I went to work in Monaco for Alain Ducasse, and the restaurant called Louis the 15, and Alain Ducasse, three-star Michelin chef again, was still in the kitchen at the time cooking. I became this generation Ducasse. And after a couple years over there, I found myself in London to be working for some of the finest chefs in London, such as Raymond Blanc, um, Nicolas Denis, Pierre Kaufman, and all those star chefs and everything. And just bring to me more and more knowledge about the industry and also learning English, which was the most important at that time. So with that said, I once that solved down and I had the skills to a certain point, the tools, the language. I went back to my first boss, Roger Verge, and I told him I wanted to come to United States. And he said that he had a restaurant in Orlando, Florida, in Disney World, in the French pavilion in the Epcot Center. And that was owned by Paul Bocuse, Roger Verge, and Gaston Lenotre. So I applied and I got hired, and I came to United States through those chefs to work for Disney. So that was my first impression of United States was Disney World, which was definitely a very big contrast coming from France, but also this is not America. We was not America. But.
So what was it like having French as a first language, being here in the US, trying to learn English and working in restaurants simultaneously?
Uh, in London, it was a bit more difficult to learn English, sorry, and to
Yes.
being a French person and with all the rivalry between French and English over the years, going there was not really like a welcoming place. And um, we all had the skills to work in restaurants. We just were missing the language. And when I worked for Nicolas Denis, the chef de cuisine was amazing chef, but definitely somebody who was very intense and somebody who couldn't care less about anybody. Um, and in our days, the behavior of those people will be unacceptable. That was called like Frenchie, the frog,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that was wrong. Um, those days, I hope those days are gone in London as well. But here in the United States, there'd be no way you could ever speak to somebody like that.
That's right. That's right. Uh, Looking back on your early days, what are some maybe a lesson that you learned early in your life?
One thing that I would never change, and sometimes it's a battle with my team at the restaurant, is guest is always right.
Yes.
And they are not customer in my world, they are guests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, big difference. Um, when I came to United States, working for Disney, makes people smile when I say that. But the truth is Disney is an incredible, hospitable company
Mm-hmm.
who kind of really teach you the right way to handle people and
Yeah.
kind of brainwash you. But that was great for me to enter through them because at least I knew what was United States going to be like.
Right.
Um, and in France, the service is very cold and passive, and you are there when you need it, and you're gone when you're not. But
Mm-hmm.
in the United States, the service is very engaging and very approaching and very personable.
Yeah.
And you have to learn those stuff because a French server come to United States, you know, he will not drop a check at the table until you ask, which here would be a complaint. Yeah. But that's the difference here. And so yeah, I was fortunate to be like that.
Yeah. I actually just went on a trip with my wife to Europe, and we went to Italy for just over a week. And just the norms in Italy versus here in the US, it's so much different. And you mentioned
Yeah.
about
Right.
dropping a check, and there wasn't one restaurant or cafe that we went to where they would bring the check unless we asked for it.
That's right.
They
Yeah.
wanted us to, it was more of a, enjoyable experience. I felt like the eating experience too. We were there. We would sit down longer than here in the U.S. Here in the U.S., it's they want to get you in and out, and
Yeah,
it's just so much different.
it is very different. I mean, the service when we went to France, you serve well properly with matter, and you know, to say like the quality of the food is definitely like up there compared to sometime in the United States, some location. Yeah. But yeah, it is definitely a more hospitable place versus a business.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So when you were with Disney, did you have any moments in your time there, when it comes to hospitality where, or maybe not even necessarily there, maybe at a previous position to that, where service wasn't up to the level that it should have been, and you had to make a course correction and, make an apology or improve a guest experience, anything like that?
Yeah, that has happened. I mean, that happen everywhere,
Yeah.
every day. Guest expectation, um, gets expectation from people, regardless it's Disney or it's three-star Michelin, or McDonald's, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have it, you don't have it. So yeah, many times I've faced people complain and try recovery and um, trying to understand what was happening. And even in now today in our restaurant, we still people do complain. Some people
Mm-hmm.
they come and they expect something different, or,
Yeah.
or we don't perform. Yeah,
Yeah, it happens.
yeah,
In
it
a
does.
in a service oriented business, like food service, like the food service industry, it's tough. Yeah, I, on the whole, I'm sure you make customers very happy, but you might get moments where the customer isn't happy because it's hard to keep everybody happy. I noticed that in my
Correct.
own business, it's we look at it as holistically as a whole. Are we doing are we providing a great service for the majority of our clients? Sure, there might be times where we're not hitting everyone, but those are areas that we look at. Hey, maybe some areas of improvement for us.
Right. No, yeah, that's how we do it too. Yeah, we try to, people come and people, it's different because people they come to restaurants also with expectation, but also in their
Right.
mind they are set differently to them. Someone, if you come upset or if you're arguing with your wife, like the experience sometimes you are between your experience. You don't do
Right.
right to your experience. And then sometimes we feel like there is somebody mistake in the kitchen was made, we definitely trigger a snowfall effect that really like gets us in trouble. And then suddenly
Mm-hmm.
you have waiting 40 minutes for your meal, and then now you upset, and the kitchen is struggling, or the server, or you know that happened. Yeah, I mean we are human.
Yeah, of course. Why did you start your restaurant?
Well, I always wanted to have my own place, obviously, coming to United States and
Yeah.
being coming from a family, you know, middle class working family. So when I came to United States, I never thought that I will have my own restaurant, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess I was triggered to do so as I worked for Disney, went to New York City, worked for La Grenouille and Le Cirque in New York, incredible restaurant, and but more important that the highlight of my career was to work for Thomas Keller for 10 years at the French Laundry
Yes.
and Bouchon in Beverly Hills. And when I was at the French Laundry, I thought that was the last job ever. No, that was it. But it ended up to be not the last job. It ended up to be I left. I didn't want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
But Thomas was always say like, run it like you own it, and one day it will be yours. And this is what something that's really I guess stayed in me, and I left to try to open my own place, and didn't work out in Philadelphia, and then moved to LA, and when in LA I work again for Thomas, and after the Bouchon closed its door in 2017, uh, at that time I was like, okay, well, we have an opportunity to take on a restaurant, and let's do it because to me Thomas Keller is the best chef I ever worked for. It is the best employer I ever worked for. So There was no going no going more than that. So owning your own place was the goal.
Go a little deeper on working with Thomas Keller. What is that experience like?
Was very intense. It's definitely like a lot of very high expectation. The French Laundry. Let's talk
Yep.
about expectation, right? You don't come to the French Laundry, and if you have something wrong, it really can be a big impact compared
Mm-hmm.
to something in another restaurant because you have spent so long waiting for a reservation. You have anticipation and excitement, and so everything's got to be perfect
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible. But Thomas really set it up that way to give the employee the tools to do their job. That was really the big things when I came on board with him in 2005. Like everyone had everything to do the right job. And despite there is always things happen, but as much as possible. And for example, me coming from a very experienced service oriented, I've trained with a greatest chef in France and everything. The day I started, they gave me a folder, which was like 3 inches thick with a schedule of my training program. It was 90 days.
Wow.
90 days training and starting by running food, starting by answering the phone, starting by spending 2 mornings in a kitchen, by being a back server, by like everything. And at the beginning, I got offended because I'm like, you guys hire me for what? But then I realized I'm like, but they just want to teach you the way they do it, and
Mm-hmm.
to buy into it. So, but this is the first time I've ever seen such an intense training after all my experience in the United States,
Yeah.
and that was definitely the biggest things I've noted. Like he's really trying to give everybody the right tools to do the right job, so we can all perform.
Right. And when you think of the French Laundry or Bouchon, the guest experience is it's a once in a lifetime experience for many people who go to those restaurants,
That's
So
right.
when they come in, the expectations are very high, but in turn puts a lot of pressure on you as someone working within the operation.
Well, yeah, I mean, they come in and there's a bunch of stories about people showing up late for the dinner and running into the restaurant scared that the table is not available or that the restaurant is closed. But we never say no. We always like accommodate. Or there was people who used to come and sit in a garden waiting in case somebody will not show up. So
Mm-hmm.
we used to serve them champagne and couple appetizer just, to we don't have to do anything, but it's just like you become a part of the system. This is what you have to do. You have to keep on improving and get better and showcasing what you do. And
Yeah.
in many ways, the French Laundry is also a benchmark for many restaurants
Right.
to be like look up to. So you cannot really underperform and expect a restaurateur to look at and to be like, wow, I want to be like them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did you originally get acquainted with Thomas Keller?
I knew somebody who knew him who told me who told me that hey, there is an opportunity in the French Laundry. So I sent my resume, and the interview was very long, and I don't think it was 6 months, but it was pretty close to 6 months by the
Mm-hmm.
time we got there. Um, and the first time around, they didn't even hire me for the French Laundry. They offered me a job at Per Se in New York.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I'm not that good, I guess. And so I declined the job. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot, I cannot go back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, they contacted me couple months later, maybe, or a few weeks later, and they said, oh, the French Laundry is ready for you now. You can go and serve you over there. I'm like, oh, am I good now? It was very interesting, yeah. But, yeah, it was pretty, a very intense interview, very with everyone from
Mm-hmm.
human resources to maître d's to chef de cuisine to accountant.
Wow.
Anybody, yes, it was so many interviews. It was very impressive. The system was like a monster.
Yeah, I'm
You know.
sure. At the French Laundry, how many employees worked there?
Well, at the time it was around 90
Okay.
altogether, all full time, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I was going to become the general manager, interviewing for the general manager position, which I will be, and I am still right now, as of today, the only general manager who was hired outside of the group. No
Oh,
promoted, nothing. So that was very big for them.
yeah.
Yeah, that was like they were not hiring somebody within. They were hiring somebody from the outside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So,
as your job as general manager, what did your day to day look like?
um, you know, coming in, looking at that's. I mean, I don't say the book because the book is always the same. So always busy, but checking in with the team, the task happening, the 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 people coming in. The number of people who have been repeat or regular guests in a restaurant. I'm not going to say VIPs, but they are VIPs. When you return, like when you come and eat once every 2 months at a French Laundry, you are a VIP. But you check on that, do interview for staffing, try. In my time, we changed uniform, so this uniform process was really long. We contacted a company in Italy that we got the suit custom for us. Buying new plates, new silverware, designing new chairs for the dining room, um, planning the closure of the restaurant with everything being taken care of. Like we had a restaurant closed twice a year at the time, and in the summertime the restaurant gets pre-painted and refreshed, and in the winter time there is a bigger built out and stuff. So there was a lot of stuff to be done, and meetings and finances, making sure the restaurant is also performing.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, it's a restaurant who needs to make money.
of course.
Yeah, so.
When you look back at your time at the French Laundry, is there any memory that comes to your mind that is very fond memory that you have?
Oh, it's many, many, many.
Yeah.
So I had in the I had a time 4 times at the French Laundry during my time there.
Okay.
The first time was for my anniversary, and that was the first time. That was the second time, but that was the first time as an employee, and the team had really like out to themselves to make to give me the best experience. And the most everything was amazing. I can go on forever, but one of the incredible things they did is the main course was served in two ways. It was the French way and it was the Turkish way because my wife is Turkish.
Yes.
So the chef Corelli had called a restaurant in New York City and asked for a Turkish recipe and created this recipe with lamb, and the server presented the food in Turkish.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was that was incredible. That was I was like, like there's nothing to say, like, and we have done that. We did that to guests, coming in and serving them things like,
Hmm.
but when you experience it, it's really overwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, that's an experience that I've never heard of before.
Yeah,
That is so, I mean, talk about a moment that you'll never forget. That is
but
incredible.
that was incredible. Yeah. And the captain was not the service. The captain, his name is Dennis Kelly, and um, he's now on his own restaurant um, uh, in Northern California called
Hmm.
Protégé. He got 1-star Michelin restaurant, but
Hmm.
he's amazing. So. And then as an employee, um, we had when the Guide Michelin came to California, that was it. Now we had to perform and we had to become a 3-star Michelin restaurant because
Hmm.
um, per se New York had already a 3-star Michelin, so we couldn't do less. So we spent a lot of time focusing on how to do things and to reviewing it and selecting people to pretend they were Michelin inspector and do all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
And then the day one day we found out that the president of Michelin Guide was going to come and have dinner at the restaurant, and so we prepared ourselves. We looked at everywhere to the point that for some reason, and I cannot tell you why,
Mhm.
I decided to wash the roof of the French Laundry myself. So I went up with a high pressure washer
Mhm.
and I washed the entire roof. And somebody took a picture and sent it to the global email address of the Thomas Keller Restaurant Group and say, guess who's coming to town? And that meaning Michelin Guide was coming to town, and it is just a picture of me washing the roof.
Yeah.
And so Thomas called me and he said, "Feel good?" I'm like, "Yeah." So you ready then? And then we were ready. And then he came, and that's the day he announced to Thomas in private that we had gained 3-star Michelin. And that was when he came to tell me in the office. I was on my way out. He came to tell me like we got it. It was like the incredible satisfaction of the work you have accomplished, and you get rewarded from something that you have worked so hard to focus on.
Yeah.
And that was I had worked in many 3-star, 2-star Michelin restaurants, but I never ran one who gained 3-star. So that was
Yeah.
the greatest accomplishment in my career.
Wow. How do they determine how many stars you're going to receive?
Well, so 1-star, you have to be 1-star. You have to be the best in your field.
Okay.
Regardless, if you are a bistro, you have to be the best bistro you can be. And
Okay.
if you are a guy California food, you have to be that. 2-star, you have to be exceptional, and you have to have um, above and beyond what usual restaurant do.
Hmm.
And 3-star, you have to become a must go, a detour. You have to, if you come to United States, you have to go eat at the French Laundry, regardless where you are, because it's that
Yes.
good. You go to Spain, you have to go to El Bulli, and you have to eat in those restaurants. So that was really like exceptional, a detour, like a must go place.
Mhm.
That's the rating. It's a lot to do with the food, in the truth. The food has incredible impact in it. Yeah. And,
Oh.
and obviously the service has to follow because you can have a great meal, but if you are served in the wrong way, without your wine, without
Mhm.
the silverware, we've seen it all, right?
That's right. I-
Yeah.
if somebody's a 3-star, can they become a 2-star? Can they go down a star, or can they go from a 2 to a 3?
They can, and it
Yeah.
happens. Some restaurants have lost the star, that Paul Bocuse was the 3-star for over 50 years, lost his star a few years ago.
Wow.
In France, it's a big impact to the
Hmm.
business, to the whole thing. United States, I've seen restaurants back and forth losing the star up and down, or um, I'm not sure exactly how they receive it, how they accept it. It's a different, somewhat different than having a low rating in a local like the LA Times or the New York Times or San Francisco Chronicle. If you have a low rating on that can be difficult compared to a star Michelin, I guess.
Right.
But in
Yeah.
France, in Europe, it's very, very followed.
Is it something that's it's global? Europe, North America, South America, it's everywhere.
It's getting everywhere now. Yeah, Asia, a lot of in Japan. There's a lot of star restaurants. Like sushi. Sushi in a metro is a 3-star Michelin restaurant because it's incredible what they do. And so yeah, it's becoming. It's becoming pretty intense. Yeah, and Michelin Guide is really a tire company. You know,
Yeah.
they don't really care politically. They don't have to give you 3-star. They don't. It's not. They don't list you. They don't list you. They don't have to.
Hmm.
Our restaurant here in Malibu, I've been trying to reach them out to come for them to see the place or anything. But if they don't answer, they don't answer.
Yeah, for
If they
sure.
don't come, they don't come. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
So much about Michelin star that I didn't even realize. So thank you for sharing that. Um, you said that you moved to Philadelphia and opened up your own restaurant, and then went back to work with Thomas Keller yet again. Did you go back to the French Laundry?
No. So in Philadelphia, there was this restaurant called Le Bec Fin. Le Bec Fin was owned by Georges Perrier, a very famous restaurant
Yes.
for many, many years. And in 2012, I had the opportunity to take over because Georges Perrier was getting tired. And
Yeah.
I left the French Laundry to go to that. And the fact was, there was no more, the fine dining world in Philadelphia was not going anymore. And we failed. We dramatically failed in very short time. So I ended up to join a Japanese group, a wonderful Japanese group who hired me. I was the first foreigner being hired from this group. Everybody was Japanese except me, and they hired me to show them or to help them integrate the American market, which I thought
Ah.
was funny because me being French and trying to teach them how to run a restaurant in the United States. But they were wonderful, and I did. I hope I did make an impact for them and help them out in their journey. Um, but so they ended up to open a place in Los Angeles, and they asked me if I wanted to move there. And I, my wife and my kids, and we kind of prefer to be on the West Coast.
Hmm.
And so we took the opportunity and we went there. And when I went there and I worked for this group, and we were opening a restaurant with a social club, and then we were opening their own restaurant, and I was the director of the operation, and then they are starting to hire other people from outside of Japan, and that is when we clashed. Like
Uh,
the um, the foreigners started to have argument against each other and me, including myself. So I ended up to leave and join back Thomas Keller. And
gotcha.
that was for Bouchon. And Bouchon in Beverly Hills was an incredible restaurant, but
Hmm.
was struggling to get going. That's
I
why
think
they closed the door.
that was in Beverly Hills, correct, Bouchon?
Correct, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was right across the way, I think, from the Montage.
That's correct, yeah.
I remember when I first started, I'm in food service sales. I'm a food broker. And I remember making a call there to Bouchon back in 2015 or 2016. It was the nicest kitchen I have to this day ever been in. I remember thinking like, you can eat off the floors here. It's that clean. It's that
Incredible.
nice.
Was incredible, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And ironically now, so the place closed, and somebody else came to do it, and they failed. Like I didn't even. They came in and they left. It was like, oh my God, what happened? And then one day there is this Chinese billionaire who comes to our restaurant a lot, and he sits at the bar. And we have an open kitchen. He sits at the bar and he says, "You used to work for Thomas Keller, yes?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." He said, "You used to work at Bouchon." I said, "Yeah." He said, he asked me questions. How big was the kitchen? How big was this? How was that? How did you do this? And I'm like, why are you asking me all those questions? He said, because I took over. I took it. I'm like, what are you going to do? He said, I'm not a restaurateur, but I rented it because I want to do something where I can entertain my business.
Mm.
And so last Sunday, my son and I, we went to see what he was doing, what he did. And so he transformed the place downstairs, the bar. He made it he called it sur le vert. It's all green and it's very limited menu for now. Like he said, I don't know what I'm doing. And then upstairs, he has not opened yet, but he's definitely has kept some of the things from the restaurant and changed some of it. Uh, but he did keep that famous bar top from
Yeah.
France, which is in zinc, which is incredible.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, I kept that and everything else is different.
That's really cool. It,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so it's open to the public now,
Just
just
downstairs, and
downstairs. Yeah.
he's a funny guy. He's like he's we are he's hoping we can help him out to develop the menu and everything, which I
Hmm.
think is interesting because I've been closing Bouchon and now maybe helping out for the new venture would be interesting.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your current restaurant? What's it like working with your son?
Um, well, it's good and bad. But we get along overall. Get pretty intense. Obviously we opened late 2019,
Hmm.
knowing what happened. So we were very resilient to stay on during COVID.
Hmm.
But and the reason why we were successful by staying on is because we were small and a family, so we didn't have to be hiring other people, and
Hmm.
so we didn't pay ourselves and stuff like that, which was not the best thing to do. And but we had to do what we had to do to stay on, to be able to reopen our doors.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't work only with one son; we have three sons, and they all work at the restaurant at some
Oh
level.
wow.
Yeah, and it kind of in Malibu, it's incredible little city with incredible people,
Hmm.
very loyal, very kind, very understanding, and wealthy. So during COVID, they were supporting us to the point where they were just supporting us versus getting food.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, some people used to come and order wine every week to take home, and I'm sure it was um, just for them to spend money more than anything else.
Hmm.
But the fact that we became a family and that we did all these things really became we became a staples over there. And you come on Friday night in our restaurant, and everybody knows each other. All the locals are there. They all know our kids, our sons. They all know the staff, and it's like a one big family working together. And everybody loved at all this special attention. And my son Lucas, who is the one who's really running the show and want to be in the restaurant business and try to expand the brand, he's always looking for extra details, always looking for things to do better. And he's really pushing to the as much as he can to make it happen for us. And I mean, you come to this little French Californian bistro on a PCH in Malibu, and if it's your anniversary, your menu will say happy anniversary. you know. And so he does all of that. He does birthdays. He um, he really pays attention to all the details and to make sure people have the extra little things. So we get very rewarded from it because of us being a family working together.
Hmm.
So
I heard a long time ago that, when a restaurant can become to somebody, where they feel like you mentioned that on Friday night, it's, you have your locals that come in, they probably feel like it's their restaurant, like they own it, that they, they're connected to it. And when you have that brand loyalty, the sky's the limit for what you can achieve.
yeah, it is. They come in, and it's interesting because when I say they kind and they're nice, and so if they come unannounced, they make reservation, and we are full,
Hmm.
they are happy.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, bring me back tomorrow. I'm so happy you guys are busy because we are here. We survive. We're surviving. We're making it. So that's
Hmm.
they want to have this restaurant. And they come. They bring their friends. They bring the guests. To come to Malibu. They show them the restaurant. We have a rooftop bar, and everybody really enjoyed the whole family French hospitality. They say like atmosphere where everybody is going above and beyond to make things happen.
Yeah. When you look into the future for your career, what is something that you haven't yet achieved, but you want to?
Well, the near future, I'm about to finish writing a book, um, which it's only a couple chapters to go, and we should be on, and that will happen. And but I want to finish it, and I've not finished it yet. It's something that I really need to pay attention to and to make it happen. Um, Opening another restaurant, a couple
Mhm.
other restaurants, which we are working on, and um, you always work on stuff, and you go to the max you can, and after you say yes or no. And last year in 2022, we almost opened another restaurant, but we failed to open it, so we went back to square one. And now we have two opportunities that we are entertaining to look at, try to see to expand the brand, because one restaurant is wonderful and is established and everything, but if you want to develop a brand, a restaurant group, you have to open more at different location. Malibu is one. Malibu has incredible, attractive people come to the restaurant, and who is who in the world comes to Malibu.
Of course.
But we have the founder of many incredible companies who come. We have the creator of things that we use every day that comes to the restaurant. We have a managers of artists. We have artists who come, and but we also want to open in the valley where we live, in Woodland Hills, where there is this energy happening, where a lot of people have moved to the valley during the COVID, and there is a lot of development, a lot of people are looking at the food now in the valley to become a serious food. Versus before it to be, but now no, you have the Michelin guide is in Woodland Hill, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And
with your expansion, opening up another location or two, would it be the exact same concept, or would it be something completely different?
So this is why we keep on going back and forth, and I think the concept has to stay in a way the same, because we're good at it and it works in that location. You just have to adapt it to where you go. Like in Malibu, we have seafood, and we have a lot of things who are a little bit more healthy, because people come, and we put spicy Malibu stew, and we sell these things like there's no tomorrow, because it's Malibu, because it's seafood. We have lobster always. If you go in a valley, probably more meat, more cured items, a little bit of different style, and maybe also different pricing too, because you're not coming to a place where you have options, you have more opportunities also to get business that is coming from businesses. Then in Malibu, it's tourists. So you have to adapt to that too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's many different factors to take into consideration for sure.
Yeah, of course. But that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, Nicolas, thank you so much for taking time to come on to the Titans of Foodservice podcast and share your story. I hope to make it out to Malibu and come see you and your sons. I'd love a family-owned business, and just so happy for you guys, and I'm sure you're very proud as well.
Where are you located?
Oh, I'm in, I actually live in Orange County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not too far. I do come to Malibu ever so often. I do have a customer out there that I visit every once in a while. It's not too often I go out there. It probably takes me maybe a couple hours, hour and a half to get there. But next time I do.
Oh yeah, please stop by. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the area, and driving down PCH from starting at Santa Monica and going all the way up. It's just a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is very pretty for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
thank you
for taking your time. I really do appreciate it. And I know everybody listening here, I'm sure enjoyed our conversation.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.